Neeta Goyal, country head, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, all the directors, our financial advisor of ICMR, all the directors of ICMR, family, HODs of ICMR, eminent scientists, technocrats, researchers, scholars, who all are joining us remotely. I consider myself privileged to be here on this momentous occasion and extend warmest greetings on behalf of ICMR NIMS family. It is a coincidence that exactly on the same month, 2 years ago, these two stalwarts, Professor V.K. Paul and Professor Balram Bhargava, who have been able to guiding the medical research of this country and pandemic management by literally taking the bull by horns, inaugurated the NDKO. It is gratifying to see that they are releasing the guidelines in the same month of this year. Shall I read? So Clive Humby, a British mathematician, coined the phrase "data is the new oil." We all know that oil-rich Gulf nations transformed from camel to Cadillac car. Just as a crude oil transformed into more useful products, raw data needs to be pre-processed before it can be used for analytical purpose. Future belongs to India, which is a data-rich country, and Honorable Prime Minister Digital India Initiative, enormous data will be generated. There is an impending need to generate good quality data for further analysis. However, whose survey you undertake, if the sampling frame is inaccurate, the data does not represent the population that it was intended to represent. A very well planned study without proper study design affects the validity both internally and externally and affect level of evidence. How best you collect the data, if your analysis is not appropriate, may lead to incorrect conclusions, artificial results, and waste of resources. How good you are a laboratory scientist, if your data quality issues are there that would lead to diagnostic errors and in turn leads to patient safety problems. Keeping these issues in mind, the ICMR NIMS, in collaboration with Population Council of India and many stakeholders, initiated the National Data Quality Forum with the philosophy, good data beats opinion. And the NDQF is hosted in ICMR NIMS. The national guidelines for data quality in surveys, especially for demographic, health and nutrition survey, is an initiative of the National Data Quality Forum. I warmly welcome all the stakeholders of this forum. COVID-19 pandemic dampened the spirits of many, and we are not exception. However, ICMR NIMS and Population Council of India and other stakeholders initiated novel approach of compulsory online Monday meetings continuously for the last 1 year, actually resulted the timely release of these guidelines. I take this opportunity to thank all the scientists who are involved from NIMS and also the project staff and Population Council and all the stakeholders. Today, as we launch the national guidelines for data quality in surveys, I am compelled to thank Dr. Professor Balram Bhargava in according a suitable stature to ICMR National Institute of Medical Statistics. Sir, your presence today underlines the importance that you accord for data quality and reflects your vision that an ICMR institute should lead this initiative. I am extremely elated to have been at the forefront and to drive our energies to bring these guidelines out. Our constant effort has been to live up to the expectations of ICMR and the nation as well. We are also working on HAMS data quality, which is the biggest health management information system of this country, with the dynamic Deputy Director General Mr. D.K. Oja and Director Anjali Rawat. We are also working with them data quality issues. Also, our future plans include data quality issues in clinical trials. Finally, our endeavor would be guide to use appropriate methodology and data in a manner to produce valid, interpretable, and reproducible results. We hope by applying these guidelines will help in minimizing the data quality issues. Before I conclude, I also go back to our ancient Sanskrit sloka on data quality. Guna gunagyeshu guna bhavanti te nirguna prapya bhavanti doshaha aswadatoyaha prabhavit najyaha samudra masajya bhavanta peya. That means that rivers always flow with soft sweet water, but when they mingle with the sea, the water of these rivers become salty and of no use for drinking. Those who understand qualities, they only respect qualities for all others. For all others, these qualities become defects. I once again extend warmest greetings to all of you and welcome one and all. Namaskar.
I now request Honorable Secretary DHR and DGICMR, Professor Balram Bhargav, also the Chair, to kindly address you.
Thank you so much. Honorable Professor Dr. Member DPIO, the Director of the National Institute of Medical Statistics, Dr. Vishnu Bhattacharya, Dr. Pranab Sen, Dr. Sandhya Krishnamurthy, Dr. Trace James, Dr. Niranjan Sabhuti, and Dr. Nita Goyal, directors of all ICMR institutes, heads of the divisions, and ladies and gentlemen. It's absolutely a pleasure and an honor to welcome all of you for the release of the national guidelines for data quality surveys. Now, India is a population of 1.32 billion, and the data that is generated by multiple sources guides our national programs and policies, and therefore the good quality data is absolutely crucial for guiding the correct policies and correct advice to the program. Several surveys are conducted in our country to generate information on demography, on health and nutrition, and sometimes these surveys lack comparability and consistency. So therefore, data quality becomes one of the most important major contribution for data. We have been hearing about data for the last few decades, and data is considered as the new gold for the current generation. Having said that, quality of data remains the most important and vital element so that we do guide the policies, we do guide the programs correctly, and do not commit some blunders. The Indian Council of Medical Research always encourages production of high quality data, and the steps taken by the Indian Council of Medical Research, National Institute of Medical Statistics, has prepared during this COVID pandemic, working tirelessly, like the other ICMR institutes who have worked tirelessly during this COVID pandemic. This institute has also worked tirelessly to develop these guidelines, which will become the best practice across the board of generating high quality data in nutrition and health surveys for the country. I congratulate the director, I congratulate ICMR, and I wish all success to these guidelines when they are adopted in the country, and the culture of good data and high quality data becomes the norm in the country. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for reiterating the need for quality data for informed policy decisions and the role of guidelines in the approach. We look forward to your continued guidance in our journey of ND+. Before the release of the guidelines by Professor D.K. Paul, it would be opportune to view a curtain raiser video on national guidelines for data quality in surveys prepared by the NDQF team. I request the IT department to kindly play the same.
Yeah, you can see, sir.
Yes.
What? Who? How? Surveys draw answers to these and many more questions for which the data should meet quality standards. Poor quality data from surveys can lead to inaccurate program or policy decisions. Ensuring data quality spans from study conceptualization to final interpretation of survey findings. The main aim of data quality assurance is minimizing survey errors and biases. This includes minimizing sampling errors through appropriate survey design, non-sampling errors through standardized training, implementing standardized survey processes and monitoring, and continuously assessing quality during and post-data collection. The National Data Quality Forum organized a series of consultations with technical resource groups and sought reviews from national and international subject experts to prepare the national guidelines for data quality in surveys. The document provides guiding principles and best practices in data quality with specific reference to demographic, nutrition, and health surveys. The guidelines include quality guidance on study design, sampling and survey tools, manuals, trainings, and data profiling with precise checklists for data quality auditors. The guidelines can be used by data producers and users dealing with demographic, health, and nutrition surveys to achieve high-quality data.
Now I request our chief guest of the event, Honorable Professor D.K. Foster, to kindly release the guidance.
Everyone.
So, I request you to kindly address the audience of the topic.
Good morning, namaste. Distinguished investor, Dr. Pralam Harvester, esteemed Dr. Manoj Singh, Dr. Vishnu, Dr. Bhavati, Dr. Sundiran Pandlasar, Dr. James, joining us, DC, Dr. Niranjan, Dr. Geeta, the directors and the staff of ICMR institutions, the ICMR family and friends. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be amongst you to mark the conclusion of a very important milestone in the journey for improving the quality of science, quality of data, quality of information. In today's meeting, that releases guidelines on data quality, national guidelines for data quality studies. As Mr. Raghu said, within a period of 2 years, coming together of a coalition, namely the National Data Quality Forum, we are very, very pleased to see this. So first and foremost, our applause goes to the National Data Quality Forum and their leadership. Very often we come together with a lofty cause, great difficulty that we may or may not do. Here is an example of delivery of an excellent document which we can deliver on a promise is highly remarkable, and that also in times of corona is equally useful. Congratulate the leadership of the forum, each one of them. It is not easy to come together and work together for many reasons. We need to drop down our egos. We need to agree to the approach taken by other people with the same pursuit of science. Agree to be able to work on consensus and not to write dissenting books on the necessary outcome.
So it's a remarkable achievement of a team that deals with science and data, information, and truth. Ultimately, we go out to do surveys and go out to do studies to find the truth. The journey of research, journey of ICMR, journey of academia is a journey of truth. And as you very correctly pointed out, I'm looking forward to hearing more about this and the other aspects. But truly, very correctly stated that we may believe in something which is actually not fake, it's not fully taken, based our policy response on that information in good faith in a way, because we believe in that may not have the fabric of truth optimally in the information that is presented to you. And therefore, to make a commitment to chalk out a path and standards for being closer to the truth during data collection, data interpretation, data studying and centralization.
Do you need a group sign?
It's a therefore remark. So congratulations for YCMR and him for taking the leadership role and making it possible through your hard work. It raises your esteem, the eyes of all of us and the mission. I'm particularly impressed by the document, I must be very honest. Its format is world class. Its planning and items that are written are world class. There's clarity and precision to go through the document. This is about clear-cut information and tips and technology tips, and very nicely made. Very high quality document. And I say that to suggest the way forward. This document should be essential reading in biostatistics and statistics course. Definitely for biostatistics. It adds on to the other things that you will prepare, at least at the master level. It must be part of the curriculum, some way. That's the way, how you do it in the business. It should be, because you will teach how to go about doing research and survey. But if you don't lay out clearly what makes the difference between an ordinary and exceptional and extraordinary, and more close to the truth, is the point. Therefore, I would like this to be promoted through multiple streams, not just for the research organizations and such, but also through the discipline of biostatistics, biomedical research, and therefore it should be systematic. Dissemination could have been a simpler word for his on this report. We would like this to be disseminated, we like this to be presented in for other formats in a simple way. There is a possibility of presenting it in an easier listen format, for example. So use this now to promote. It's the hard work of wonderful people, the very best in our nation. Let it reach as an addendum on TV and courses, wherever it is, whoever does this kind of work, because this is so rich for my country. It's a global level. And it occupies the fundamental space of demographic health and nutrition service, which is a main driver, in a way, a very significant driver of policy development based on data. So on this day, I'm pleased to be able to congratulate you. I compliment you. I'd like to see this document disseminated in multiple ways and gain a constituency of followers of high quality work, high understanding of high. We do not really know for a long period of time in our journey research what is ordinary and what makes a difference. It takes a while. This document will make it easy. And because I'm extended part of extended family, there is definitely this much of ICMR in me for many reasons in my journey. Among them is the proximity where my demography has been. I'm very happy as a family member of Indian Personal Medical Research. Thank you so very much.
so much, sir, for highlighting the utility of the guidelines and also advising us on the wider definition of the guidelines for developing a community of data, believers in data quality and who would take the initiative forward. Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Dr. Pranav Sen, Director, International Growth Center, India Program, and the ex-statistician of India, of course, our chairperson of our technical advisory group of NDQs and member of steering committee, to kindly share his remarks. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me to this platform. Dr. Paul, Dr. Thomas, it's a pleasure to share the demonstration with you. I must say that the 2 years, or a little less than 2 years that I spent heading the PAG were very, very enriching. I've been in statistics for a long time. And I completely share Dr. Paul's view that this is a document which needs to be disseminated very widely. And the reason I say is that there used to be a time when survey data was entirely the provenance of the government. It was government agencies who generated data and then all sorts of other people used it. Those days are long gone. Today, there is more data coming from non-governmental efforts, non-governmental sources, whose quality, whose basic methodology is substantively unknown to us. Quite possibly they're following the best of standards, but we don't really know. And we need a document which can say, have you complied with these standards? And this document actually provides that, and I request Dr. Paul, given the position of NITI Aayog in these matters, to actually insist on some conformity to these things. That's number one. The second is, I don't think we should limit our ambitions towards only this country. India as a nation took the lead in propagating statistics, and particularly survey-based statistics, in the developing world all over. After 60 years, I think we have taken the next step, and I think this should become an international document. And maybe we should work towards that. I think the quality of data generation in other developing countries is poor, because they never really had, they had the theory of survey statistics, but not the practicality. And that's a fundamental. But let me also make something clear. This is only a first step, because this talks essentially about survey data. Now, survey data is fine for essentially demography and nutrition. But when it comes to health, survey data is inherently limited. Health data is much wider, and we get a lot of data on that. But they are not surveys, they are not structured, and we really, hats off to people who do epidemiology, that how they are able to make sense of this data, which is totally unstructured. That's something we now have to do, which is really the large volume of data that government collects through administrative means. And by and large, the bulk of our health data comes from administrative sources. How to bring about quality change in that is really our next big challenge in NDQ. And hopefully, Dr. Vishnu Rao will be taking this on as an important challenge. Because let me tell you, what we've done up to now on surveys was the easy part. What we should be going to is far more difficult and will be far more contentious. But it's a challenge that I look forward to, and I hope we do get on with the work. And in the next 2 years, we have something that we can present to Dr. Paul again, saying that can you implement this in the government system? Thank you.
So much, sir, for the valuable insight and guidance on working on policy change in the administrative data in health. I now request Dr. Vishnuvardhan Rao, Director ICMMS, to provide an overview of the national guidelines for data quality in service. Thank you.
Next slide. So this is the scope of the document. There are 6 aspects of the document scope.
Sir, you have to speak in the mic. The online people will hear.
Because it's not visible. So the 6 aspects of the data, this document. One is the data is quality assurance and data quality management, quality assurance during the preparatory phase, data collection phase, as well as the post data collection phase, and checklists to ensure data quality at every stage, and also tools to monitor data quality in surveys, and finally the technological tips and machine learning tips to ensure data quality. These are the document is based on all these 6 aspects of items. Next, please. So it has got 5 chapters or 5 sections we can call. There are 5 chapters starting with the data quality monitoring, quality assurance during the preparatory phase, and the implementation of data quality assurance during the data collection phase, data quality assessments post data collection, which is also very important, and also machine learning and artificial intelligence. Now we cannot without that we cannot run the show. Now it is the need of the hour, and we are trying to improve the AI even in ICMR also. So that is the 5th chapter. This please. So in the first chapter, data quality monitoring, we have around 7 sub-items, right from general principles to data quality frameworks, selecting independent data quality, the common source of what are the errors that could occur, and biases of the survey, and quality criteria, how data quality and ethical principles finally is important. This chapter contains all these basics of this. The second chapter section contains quality assessment during the preparatory phase. So it has 8 subsections from the appropriate survey tools, quality assurance, in ensuring the quality assurance, ensuring the quality training, survey sampling methodology, review of different dimensions of the survey tools, good quality design of data, how it would be, and ensuring the quality assurance and the steps that are required. So are there in the second chapter. Next, please. The third section contains implementation of the quality assurance activities during the data collection phase, second phase, and it contains around 11 subsections, starting from clearly defining the problem, quality through field visits, and monitoring of the quality assessment, ensuring the quality in the biomarker data, so on, development of interactive real-time dashboards, performing the analytics, and documentation of the quality monitoring process. It has got, in the big chapter, it has got 11 sections. Please. And the fourth one is the data quality assessment, the post-data collection. This section provides guidance around steps to analyze and document data quality and post-data collection, including the computation of sampling weights. This is very important because any state or any country is not homogeneous. We have to make the sampling weights and sampling errors and reporting them, and also the non-sampling errors. So this chapter deals with all these aspects. Next, please. Finally, this is the use of either machine learning to improve the data quality, and we already actually not all these we have tried and tested, but some of them definitely we have tested and the results have been produced in this report. But basically, we want to use a neural network kind of a thing, and machine learning, as well as the K-means, which is even now we want to use it in the COVID clinical history, the technique K-means, where we will not have any hypothesis, we just ask the data to tell. This exploratory data analysis, making the clusters of the different parameters in the existing COVID clinical that we are trying with K-means. So this is what the final chapter, which deals with the machine learning and artificial intelligence. We also made some guidelines on this. Next. These are the tools actually we really developed, and it is available online, which NDTF check, they are there, and outlier detection tool as well as the data quality labeling tool, which anyone can use, and some of the aspects it will cover, and it gives very good outcome. Next one. So our thanks to the steering committee chaired by Professor Dr. Balram Bhargav, technical advisory group chaired by Dr. Pranav Sen, and the peer review group consisting of national and international domain experts, and NDTF team consisting of ICMR, NIMS, and population counseling staff, and all other stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving the detailed overview of the guidelines. The guidelines are available on the NDTF website for download. Now I request Dr. Samiran Panda, Head ECD, to kindly offer his remarks.
Good morning. I was thinking this document should have been made available to me 30 years ago when I started my journey. Unfortunately,
That's what I meant.
I didn't have it. But well, thanks, Dr. Vishnuvardhan Rao, anyway, because I have got it finally. But had I had access to this 30 years ago, it would have saved me a whole lot of mess that I created in the name of research and in the field of research. But who came to my rescue is Robert Fisher, whose name you are all familiar with. And he's, there are tests after his name, Fisher's test, and he's, brilliant discourses around and on p-value. But then you must be wondering, Samiran is cooking up a story. How come Robert Fisher had an interaction with Samiran, who is standing on this podium? And he is dead and gone after he visited the Indian Institute of Statistics Science, Indian Institute, which is there in Calcutta. And that time, Dr. Prashant Chandra Maharanich was there. And his way back from there, he expired shortly. There is a book, if you are interested, by David Salzberg, if I'm not wrong. The name of the book is The Lady Tasting Tea. And in that book, there is a description that Robert Fisher, who is supposed to be in front of the computer with the papers and the pen, he was not sitting there most of the time. He would be with, as we call the long boot, and walking through the mud, cleaning the cages where the guinea pigs were kept. His students asked him, "Sir, what is this? We are waiting for you, hours together, and you are cleaning these cages." He said, "Look, if these cages are dirty, my data will be dirty." So he came to my rescue. I had to sort of learn what is the importance of clean data or data quality by messing up. And then actually having attempts to clean. How do you clean the data or do a research which is less money? So I think it's a fantastic contribution. It will help me, but it will help much more those who are just starting a journey, which I started 30 years ago. I will end by saying that there was this small little video which reminded me of Rudyard Kipling's. There's a little point. He said that I kept 5 servants who served me the most and best. Those were who got the disease, what did they have as a disease or a health problem, when. So it's all about time, where was it happening only, and then how probably gets answered more by the qualitative data. But here we are talking mostly about the quantitative data. These are the 5 servants. But then I got equipped, I appeared in interviews, and there were professors like Dr. Sen, Dr. Poe, Dr. Bhargav, and they would ask, I naturally, try to impress them how good was I in terms of doing the research. And then they will ask me, after all these, I explain who, what, how, where, when. They will say, so what? So what is actually a policy implication question. So did we or could we generate evidence with the data which would have a meaning, or would the evidence be able to inform the policy and the program? So that's why I think it's very valuable. Great work done. Kudos to Dr. Rao and his entire team. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to share a little bit of thoughts and stories, because I don't know mathematics at all, but I love stories. And that's why, as Professor Sen said, statisticians love epidemiologists, because they always come with stories. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, sir, for those insights and in a infotainment way, and for highlighting the crucial role of quality data in service. I would now request Madam Sandhya Krishnamurthy, DG, Director General, MOGW, to provide key reflections. She would be joining online. Thank you, ma'am, for taking out time from your busy schedule.
Please check on whether she has missed that.
Madam, can we, yeah, you are on mute if you're speaking. Kindly unmute.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Good morning to everybody. Dignitaries on the dais, Dr. V.K. Paul, the member Niti Aayog, and Dr. Balram Bhargava, Secretary DHR and ICMR, Dr. Vishnu Varnadhara Rao, Director NINS, and other dignitaries who have joined this meeting. At the outset, I thank Dr. Vishnu Varnadhara Rao for giving an opportunity to grace this occasion. As we know that good quality of data in terms of its transparency and credibility, accuracy, and consistency is a paramount for any decision making as well as for dissemination of the data. So this document, what that has been highlighted, it encapsulates the entire gamut of the activities as far as the data quality is concerned. Now, to today's scenario, data quality, right from the data collection stage, design stage, processing stage, it's all an issue, it's been questions. So it's a real challenge as far as statisticians are concerned. How these need to be addressed. Over a period of time, these issues have been coming through, and all governments, agencies have been taking their own way of addressing these issues. But I think at this forum that National Data Quality Forum has bridged the gap between the data producers and the users, which an integrated platform to address that. Thereby, we will be working within this framework. They've given a scope for us to work within this framework, and definitely that as statisticians, we look into all these issues, and it's an excellent document which we were aspiring quite for long time. There was not a uniform platform to address all these issues. Now it is a learning process from the producer side and users as well. And once again, my appreciation and congratulations to all the team members, right from the steering committee, which is chaired by Dr. Balram Bhargava, secretary, and the TAC, which was chaired by Dr. Pranab Sen, and others, for bringing an excellent documentations which will be used by all the stakeholders. It is a collaborative effort by the national and international experts. I'm sure that this you have brought laudable to this. I mean, it will be institutionalized in all forums. Thank you a lot.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for emphasizing the need for data quality throughout the different phases of survey and also the importance of the guidelines for data producers as well as users. Now I request Professor James, Director, International Institute for Population Sciences, to share with us his remarks. Thank you.
Dr. James, you have to unmute if you are on mute.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I think I was not able to unmute. So, Dr. Vinod Paul and Dr. Bhargava, Dr. Pranab Sen, Dr. Vishnuvardhan Rao, thank you for inviting me to speak on this occasion. I think I also echo with all the other members on the importance of this document. I think that is very, very vital to re-emphasize that, because I think partly it really conveys to the world or conveys to the all members here the importance of the quality of data, particularly at this juncture. I think I will also even appreciate the efforts by the researchers, efforts by media, actually re-emphasizing always the what is the importance of quality, because any drawback in the quality is now being questioned, and all the researchers, all those who are actually capturing this data are now every time has been challenged really to bring out a good quality data. If you want to bring out a good quality data, definitely guidelines are important, which we were lacking all these years. I think that is the significance of this document which has been brought in. I think there are 2 or 3 things which I would like to re-emphasize again in this forum. One is the quality of the data is always, I think that, even when I joined in IIPS, this has been a question which has been always asked. We've spent a lot of time for collecting data. What is actually the significance? Is it that is our duty? I think this document really brings out the science behind a survey, which has been lacking, because, I always tell our PhD students, they go and collect data and everyone is happy that they went to the field and came back and they understood the field. But that is only one part of the understanding the field. But how scientifically it should be collected, how scientifically it should be done, what is the guidelines for it, I think that is very, very significant, not only for the big data collecting agencies like NSSO or even that matter IIPS for NFHS. That is one part of the story, but there are a large number of researchers, scholars collecting data in India. They need to follow these strict guidelines in case they have to succeed, and they have to really bring out with a quality data as well as quality relationship or causality analysis in the research. I think that is very, very important. That is what these guidelines is not only important for big organizations, but I believe this is what will really pave the way for thousands and hundreds of the researchers, both PhD level as well as at the faculty level in this country. And secondly, I think another research real problem in the country is that the collection of data, the expertise in this is limited to a few agencies in this country. Maybe NSSO is classic examples. IIPS has been able to capture that, but the other organizations, either whether it's universities, whether it is other research institutes, whether it's at the state level, you can say it is completely lacking. I think we really need a document to go ahead, actually to have a good training, to tell them what is that we need to follow. I think this document that way will facilitate, I think, hundreds of other training programs, hundreds of other seminars, which will not only in one parts of the country, but in different areas of this country. I think one should take initiative on that to go ahead and to convey it to everyone that we really need to follow, whether you are a student, whether you're an MPhil student, whether you're a master's student, whether you are researchers, whether you collect for the state, but you need to follow these guidelines in case you really want a good quality data, which can really give you a causal analysis. And finally, I think the wonderful part of this document is that it's not only that it gives you an outline for the quality, it also gives you a dimension which we really need to modify in the future, because I believe the Data Quality Forum is a forum which needs to really ensure that this is not a document at this point in time, because these need to be reformulated time and again. Because if you really look at with the advancement of the technology coming into the field of data collection, I think every day things are changing. Even NFHS 5, I remember we might have introduced at least 4 or 5 new items for ensuring quality. I think NFHS 6, which is going to happen now, I think we are already formed. The meeting is going to happen next week, and we are ensuring that at least another 5 or 6 kinds of quality steps are being taken. So every day things are changing. So we need to ensure that this document to NDQF, we also change or keep on changing, so that every day we have a good quality assessment of the guidelines which we needed to ensure the quality of data. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm also happy to convey that the Ministry of Health has already sanctioned a Department of Survey Research within the Institute, because as you know, the Institute has been collecting data for a long time, but we didn't have a department really to do survey research. Although survey collection is one part of it, but survey research is an entirely different thing. So we already started a Department of Survey Research. So I hope with this document and also further research coming out from that department will really ensure for the country to achieve the highest data quality. Thank you so much once again, and appreciate all the efforts made by all NDQF at the team. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, sir, for highlighting the need to understand the science behind data gathering, and also the impact that the guidelines can have on the researchers. And of course, the last point which you mentioned was also to the need for continuous updation of the document, which the NDQF forum and the community will consider. Thank you so much, sir. Now I invite Dr. Samruti Niranjan, Country Director, Population Council, to share his concluding remarks.
Thank you so much for the invitation for me to be here and speak about few remarks. Respected dignitaries on the dais, colleagues who joined online and here in the room, it's my proud honor to say that something has endorsed by many colleagues here, that some document like this was much needed much before, and at least we now have a guideline to start with. And I also say that the two minds think alike. The points that I wanted to say, which was also mentioned by Dr. James, is one is about how this document can be a living document, and how the technology and the new developments that people are developing within the institutions, whether it is IAPS or Ministry of Statistics Program Implementation, within that is the NSS work, or the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, or any of these professional survey agencies are coming up with new technologies. And this document actually touches upon the high-end technology used, both for also recommending the guidance that people can use in terms of the data collection, but also in terms of how the technology can be used for assessing and guiding the good quality data generation. So from that perspective, it is a wonderful document. And I also had this privilege to work with Dr. Rao and his colleagues on this document. And one thing I would say, which is more about the science part of it. And the science is that it has systematically reviewed all the different data quality frameworks. And so far what we have is only the theoretical guidance on the data quality framework. But what this document actually provides is the practical steps in operationalizing the data quality framework. And that is something that you can find in the document very well, which actually touches upon the different elements of that framework recommended by the international and national bodies, and how the document, within the document, the different elements actually are covered, are covering those guidelines. And one other last point that I would actually want to say, that it also has the, when we look at all it is very different from the survey manuals, as we all recognize. And the document, besides giving the guidance on the different aspects of quality, it is a holistic perspective that it is given, which means that all the organizations which have those survey manuals may touch upon few elements of the quality assurance, but this is something, the guide that can be used. Lastly, I must say that it's a hard work that was put in by Dr. Rao and his colleagues at ICMR Games for bringing out this guideline, which will be not only useful for the generation, for the current generation of researchers like us, but also for the future generation. And thanks so much for bringing out. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Niranjan, for highlighting the unique contribution of the guidelines in strengthening the health data ecosystem in India. I now request Dr. Neeta Goyal, Country Lead, Measurement, Learning and Evaluation, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, to kindly share her concluding remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Rao and the NDQF team for the invitation to be here. It's been a complete honor to have the guidelines released and to see the fruit of all of your efforts. As the last speaker, I think everything of interest has already been said. And so I think I'll just highlight a couple of things that I take away with me. One is that we've all agreed that these guidelines were much needed and have been needed for the last 30 years or more. And I think they will continue to be needed. And so it is a living document, as Niranjan has said. They also represent to me, these guidelines, the fact that multiple stakeholders, multiple individuals and organizations have come together to work on these guidelines. They represent to me the true essence of NDQF, which is a platform of stakeholders working in a collaborative way to improve data quality. And these guidelines represent that. And therefore, it's an added pleasure because, as Dr. Paul noted, collaboration comes at a price. It comes at keeping aside personal differences and focusing on the common good. And I think that is the spirit of NDQF. As mentioned by all the other speakers, programs and policies depend on data and good quality data. And I think this is especially relevant today as our country grapples with the pandemic and its effects on the larger populations. We have been dependent on surveys to figure out how this has affected the population at large, how our households coping, and phone surveys and other surveys have been the way that we have tried to gather this data and get better understanding so we can know what social protection measures or other policies need to be taken. As Dr. Sen pointed out, we are not sure of the quality of these data being gathered because multiple organizations are now collecting data. And I think these guidelines are even more relevant in today's times when there is a need to gather more data and to do it efficiently and speedily, but maintaining the quality. The other thing I will say is, as we move into the phase of disseminating these guidelines, it will take each one of us represented in this virtual room. It will take all of us and our efforts to be able to disseminate and make these guidelines the standard by which institutions operate. And we'll all need to be a part of that process because this is something that NDQF cannot do by itself, even though we look to them to spearhead this particular movement. So I will ask for your help to be able to use these guidelines and to pass them on and to ensure they are the new standard. At the Gates Foundation, we are deeply invested in data quality and in working with and collaborating with other stakeholders to improve data quality. It is an honor for us, Dr. Rao, to be associated and to support NDQF, and we look forward to additional milestones. Dr. Sen has already laid out a few additional ambitions that we could move on to. I think this is a tremendous milestone. Congratulations, and we look forward to it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Goyal, for once again reiterating the role of good quality data in appropriate policy decisions and encouraging everyone to join in the NDQF efforts to disseminate the guidelines. Thank you so much. Now to conclude, it is the honor, my proud privilege to in fact propose vote of thanks on behalf of the director, ICMR National Institute of Medical Statistics, and the National Data Quality Forum. We are highly indebted to Honorable Member Niti Aayog Professor Dr. B.K. Paul for kindly accepting our invitation despite his busy schedule and agreeing to release the document and also supporting its launch. Thank you so much, sir. We sincerely thank respected Secretary DHR and DG ICMR Dr. Balram Bhargav, sir, for taking out valuable time to chair today's event. Sir, your leadership and continued guidance are the impetus. We thank Dr. Pranab Sen, Chairperson of our Technical Advisory Committee and a member of the Steering Committee, for his suggestions in providing strategic directions to NDQF and in the preparation of this critical document. Thank you. We are also thankful to Dr. Samaran Panda, who is currently not there, Professor James, Madam Sandhya, Director Madam Sandhya, the DG MOGFW, Dr. Neeta Goyal, Country Lead, MLE Bill and Melinda Gates, Dr. Niranjan Sabhuti, Director Population Council India, for kindly gracing the occasion, offering their insightful remarks to bolster our future endeavors. Thank you so much. I take this opportunity to acknowledge the invaluable inputs received from the experts of the Steering Committee, Technical Advisory Group, and Peer Review Committee for this document's successful preparation. We thank all the directors, heads of various divisions, senior scientists from ICMR and ICMR institutes, invitees from various government departments, development partners, and other distinguished guests who have joined today, online and in person, for their time. Last but not the least, I take this opportunity to thank our Director, ICMR, Dr. Vishnu Rao, for his inspiration and guidance, the team at Population Council for their partnership and support, the NDQF team for the contribution to the effort, scientists and staff at ICMR NIMS and ICMR IT department for helping in hosting this event. Lastly, once again, we thank you all for your kind patience and look forward to your engagement in advancing these guidelines for strengthening the data quality in service. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.